Category Pirates presents Career Quakes. Part 2, Convert Your Quake into Capital, written by Eddie Yoon and Christopher Lockhead, read by Eddie Yoon's AI. In Career Quakes. Part 1, we wrote about 21 distinct global, organizational, and personal quakes and 7 core truths about quakes. We shared Pirate Shelley's story as an example of how to build a personal AI intelligence officer to navigate the quakes in your lives. Never let a crisis go to waste. In this mini book, let's go deep into the practical and tactical about how to turn a career quake into quake capital, turmoil into treasure. The treasure is in the turmoil. Pirate Christopher went through a ton of turmoil as a teenager. His band was signed when he was 14. 3 years later, he thought his band was on fire. Then the quakes started. Drummers quitting, bass players quitting, getting screwed by bar owners, and the band was running out of money. One quake led to another. As the band was going bust, Pirate Christopher was getting thrown out of school. No one realized he was dyslexic. They told him he was dumb. His mother's voice on his shoulder, "You don't get to grow up to be a bum." She was a 5 foot 3 inch single mom. Pirate Christopher towered over at the age of 12. There were only two things to get her message across: guilt and love, so she used a lot of both. Those feelings drove Pirate Christopher. His entire life comes down to aiming to not experience the horror of disappointing his mother, father, and his grandfather. He chose to strive to become the man they told him he could be. Pirate Christopher's mother taught him. When somebody says, "I'm really disappointed in you," what they're saying is, "I love you, and the potential I see for you is so much greater than the way you're conducting your life right now. The delta between who you are and who you could be is crushing me." We are only disappointed to the degree to which we see potential unrealized. This is true for entrepreneurs, category designers, and creator capitalists of all types. When we see the potential for a different future and the gap between what exists and what's possible, it drives us to act. It drives us nuts. And when a young person we care about doesn't exploit their opportunities, it breaks our hearts. Pirate Christopher isn't the only person to find treasure in the turmoil, fueled by love and guilt. What drives career breakthroughs? We recently completed the Creator Capitalist Mount Rushmore Creator Analysis. It's a deep dive into what drives people to make a career change, which drives meaningful economic outcomes across hundreds of careers. We mapped the demand landscape across 2 dimensions: the type of situation that triggered the value creation and the type of outcome that was achieved. What we found was startling. Most people think career breakthroughs happen when everything goes right. They don't. 2 cells in the entire demand matrix accounted for 78% of all economic value created, not 78% spread across a dozen categories. 2 cells out of dozens of possible intersections. Lifequakes times turnarounds equals 47% of all value. Crisis meets pivot meets enterprise value creation. Nearly half of all economic value came from people and slash or organizations that experienced a lifequake, used it to execute a turnaround, and built something transformative on the other side. A disproportionate amount of celebration goes towards the entrepreneur going up in the world. Many acts of entrepreneurship are really acts of desperation, a way out, not a way up. What forces the person is a quake. They realize, my life is going to suck if things don't get different. Or said a different way, the risk of staying the same is greater than the change. Reframe times strategy slash M&A equals 31% of all value. Bringing a new lens to an old problem opens up a world of possibilities for new strategies or M&A. A reframe means someone looked at a familiar asset, market, or situation and saw something completely different than everyone else did. That new lens is almost always built from one of the 4 capitals: financial, intellectual, relationship, or reputation. The examples below show what happens when that shift in perspective gets applied to a major strategic move. Financial capital. Warren Buffett buys an infinite treasure chest for M&A. Buffett didn't buy insurance companies. He bought a machine that paid him to borrow money forever for free. Everyone else saw insurance as a premium and claims business. Buffett saw the float, the cash sitting between when premiums are collected and when claims are paid out. He got to invest it interest-free for decades. He bought National Indemnity in 1967 for $8.6 million, and nobody understood why. Then he bought Geco, then General Ray. This collect now, pay later model leaves us holding large sums we call float. Meanwhile, we get to invest this float for Berkshire's benefit. We enjoy the use of free money and, better yet, get paid for holding it. Warren Buffett. The float grew from $16 million in 1967 to $164 billion by 2022, an 8,000-fold increase. He used it to buy BNSF Railway, Seas Candies, and dozens of others. No outside capital. For many companies, their WACC, weighted average cost of capital, is anywhere from 5% to 15%. Capital carries a cost that companies must pay. Buffett's wacky source of capital gave him a negative WACC to take unlimited whacks at buying and investing in everything from Amex to Apple. Intellectual capital. Roche acquires Genentech. Every other pharma company that bought a biotech did the same thing. They did the deal, absorbed the team, installed their processes, and watched the innovation die. Roche bought a 56% stake early and left Genentech completely alone. Didn't touch the culture, didn't touch the scientists, let it run independently for years, then paid $47 billion for the rest in 2009. What came out of that engine? Herceptin, Avastin, Rituxan, three of the best-selling cancer drugs in history. You can't acquire innovation by controlling it. Roche bought the goose and kept it safe.